At this point, I'm going into year 7. I've played a good enough ball at this point. Now it's time to put some hardware on.
For a Philly fan who hasn't seen you play, can you describe your style of play?
My style of play is dirty. Listen, I'm just going in to try to dominate and take over a game. You're going to see I fit right in and you just get that burst of energy.
I run into your friend at a bar at 1 a.m. and I'm in Nashville. He goes, "You know John?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know John." So we end up on FaceTime. I don't know what I'm screaming in the phone.
I literally was thinking I'm getting a call from him and pick up the phone. I'm like, bro, what in the world is going on?
It is official. Jonathan Greenard is a Philadelphia Eagle. I couldn't be more happy about that. And now he's on the show. Welcome to the show, JG. What's up, dude?
Man, what's happening? What's happening, man? Appreciate y'all having me on.
It's great having you on. We've talked before, and you're somebody whose game I really like, and so make no mistake about it. I was pulling for this to happen.
For sure.
Matter of fact, small world. I run into your friend at a bar at 1 a.m. and I'm in Nashville at Lane's wedding. And he goes, "You know John?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know John." So we end up on FaceTime. I don't know what I'm screaming in the phone. I think I'm like, "Make it happen."
Yeah. But that was so funny, dog. That was one of my buddies that I went to school with in college. And literally, like I said, bro, I literally was thinking I'm getting a call from him. And pick up the phone. I'm like, bro, what in the world is going on? I already knew he's in Nashville. I'm just like, bro, what is... And like you said, bro, you really couldn't hear nothing. All you can hear is, "Make it happen." It's like all muffled and shit. We just like, I think he put Saquon or something like that too, man. Who knows? I don't know who was all like, but it was just so funny because I was out with my boys too, but here in Georgia. But just seeing that, I said, bro, what are you doing with Chris, dog?
Dude, it's a small world, and I'm super
like,
happy we got to chat. And then seeing the news come down was awesome. Like, take me through that whole process. Does your agent tell you, hey, they're shopping you, and then is there a waiting game? And were there other teams that you suspected were involved?
Yeah, I mean, we knew that we were going to come to this point, obviously dealing with the contract. I had no more guarantees left. So ultimately, we knew that we had to come back to the table with something. Whether it was good year, bad year after the second year, we knew we were coming back to it. But ultimately, we just did whatever was told to us. We saw we had a number in mind, and wanted to see how we could get this done. Obviously, whether it was in Minnesota, we hoped it would have been there at the time. But obviously, things like that, we understand these things happen, go back and forth. They have a little pushback. You try to go back. So I kind of stayed out of that and just let my agent handle that, and he just kind of relayed that stuff to me. But yeah, I mean, I knew eventually that once we kind of got a little pushback that there was going to be a possibility of somehow we're probably going to have to, go elsewhere. So I stayed up there in rehab the entire time until I kind of knew that something may happen. So I was like, you know what, let me just go back home. I've been rehabbing here in Georgia, just to kind of get my mind out of there. I was still, like I said, I've been there since December. I mean, anybody knows being in December to March in Minnesota, that weather ain't the most friendly. So it's literally gray skies that day. So most times, like, I was just trying to just get a breath of fresh air, just going back to see the family in Georgia. And then obviously leading up into that, once we try to get to that number, we seen that it was the pushback. We kind of went to see other teams to see if they were, if I was worth what I was asking for. Honestly, that was really the main thing that throughout this process, say, listen, after a 3-set year, whatever it is, obviously come off of shoulder surgery, you see what teams is going to value at that. And I just, we seen who actually stepped up to the plate on that. And it was just a lot of back and forth about compensation at that point. My agent was continuing to fill me in, but it got to the point where it did get a little dead and where he was like, listen, just worry about, rehabbing and things of that sort. Whenever this conversation comes back up, the only way it could possibly happen is for draft picks. So we knew that it was going to come around this time, obviously with draft time. And shit, sure enough, it was a lot of rumors at that time, and we already knew Philly was in the picture. We knew a couple other teams were there as well. I think they obviously just went different ways once they seen what the compensation would be and understanding that they'll have to still get a new contract. Make no mistake, everybody knew that it wasn't about me not wanting to be in Minnesota. That was not
right
at all. We knew that it was strictly about contract and money at this instance. And myself being an edge guy, we understand how much we can affect the game. And, whenever I see that my worth is, not going to say not viewed the same, but yeah, it's kind of essentially that. I'm not viewed the same as I think in my head from that team. I mean, we have to kind of see who is going to value at that point. And like I keep going back to, Philly was that team and shit. I get the call, was it Friday? Friday around like 2. And they're like, yeah, it's happening. And I'm like, oh, I literally was taking a nap. My son was knocked out. Like we're literally, me and my wife, we're just literally taking a small, quick nap and get the phone call, and it's like, hey, listen, it's happening. So it's 2 o'clock my time. I had to get on the flight at like 4:25. I'm already an hour and some change from my airport. Like, yeah, the next flight you got to be at 4:25. You know they close the doors at like 20 minutes before, so bro, I'm literally booking it. Like I literally wake up
Running
and I'm
through the
like,
airport.
I'm literally hitting it. And literally shoot. Made no mistake, I got on that plane, so it was for me. And now we're here.
That's
Now we're here.
amazing, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What a weekend. And
Crazy. Crazy.
and you get to go to did you go to Sixers game?
I did. I did. Literally pulled up, did all the physical stuff. As soon as I got off the plane, and then we had enough time. I think it was like third quarter. Walked in there, and I'm just sitting there. Smitty was right next to me. Man, it was crazy. I'm just like looking at the environment there. It's like, man, for this to be, basketball. Obviously I've been in other stadiums, man, so like stuff like that. I mean, arenas, but fans are already there. I mean, you know that you can feel the energy as soon as you walk in there. You understand that like this is no bullshit. Obviously, it's playoffs, is heightened, but at the same time, you just can tell like, listen, ain't no bullshit going on. Like
Mm.
we want this championship culture to sustain, and I think that's the part where you can just feel that throughout the building.
Dude, it is. I was gonna say, if there's one thing I miss from playing, it's 3rd and 8 in the second half. It's at home,
Yeah,
just putting your hand in the air and doing this and fucking 60, 70,000 people. And it was loud in Minnesota.
yeah,
Make no mistake about it. Y'all had a
sure.
really good home field advantage. But you just mentioned that basketball vibe. You got
Yeah,
that championship kind of vibe. It's going to feel incredible in the link. I'm just
sure,
telling you. I don't
sure.
know if you have it, if you played in the link before. I think
Never.
you missed the Minnesota, played there in 23.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
But have you just kind of caught yourself daydreaming a little bit about what that's going to be like playing in that stadium in front of Philly fans, which it's a little different.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was the main part where, it kind of sold me. I mean, throughout the process when Philly was even first mentioned that as a possibility going there, is interested, all I could think about is like, dude, championship, you know, crazy environment, the culture in general. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest differences. Like I say, it's more so, sometimes you hear stuff about the fans and this and that, like negative side of positive. That's negative positive side to any fan base.
Yes.
But where I get at it is the passion. I see that, like, listen, if they're not pushing you to be a championship team, I mean, or not, or accepting anything less than that, then what are we doing here? So I think that that's the part where at this point I'm going into year 7. I've played a good enough ball at this point. Now it's time to put some hardware on there. I think that that's the main part of when you get to this point, you can attest to that. I mean, your body
Yeah.
started to be hurting and stuff like that. It's all right. Listen, I need to have something to show for it now. Like
No
you can
question.
sit here and keep making plays, or the money aspect, all that stuff. Everybody know me that truly knows me. They know that I'm trying to win the ring. Like they know I'm really trying to play. I love football, so the money and all that stuff that comes with it. That's the part we know. The guys with, man, I don't care about the money. Nah, that's a part of it. And I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all, but ultimately, I love to make the plays and hopefully get this thing get a ring.
No, that's what it's about, man. You're
Yeah,
gonna have a great chance there,
for
and
sure.
listen. You guys in Minnesota were really good 2 years ago, and
Hundred
just
percent.
last year it didn't work out. But they have been there and done that, and I felt for you because they were twisting your quotes up. I saw somebody nowadays with the internet. It's like you can get aggregated and misconstrued 100 different ways, and I saw you kind of go through that with Minnesota. And I don't want to speak for you, but was that kind of as you're walking out the door, you're really excited about the new chapter, but that doesn't mean you didn't like the old chapter.
100%. Yeah. I mean, like I say, that anybody that knows me truly, they know that any place that I'm playing for right in that present moment, y'all getting 100% of me. I don't look no other way. I'm not looking over the fence to see what's going on in somebody else's lane. Like
Right.
I was in 10 toes even when we were down bad last year. And I've been a part of losing seasons before, so it's not like I've been in Houston times when we only had 3 wins, 4 wins, but I
Yeah.
was still 10 toes in that. Like it was never at a point in time where I was like, man, I gotta dip off for something better. Like, nah, like I love that place to death. I appreciate it because they continue to get me to this point. I mean, I wouldn't be able to even look at this opportunity if I wasn't granted the opportunity to start there in Minnesota. So yeah, I mean, when I seen the quote come, I'm like, hey, listen, I just know how this stuff goes around. Let me go ahead and get in front of that. At no point in time I'm sitting here trying to shit on Minnesota at any point in time. what was said is just the truth, honestly. They asked about, hey, what is, if the quote they're referring to, I mean, they asked about, hey, listen, how does it feel when you walk in this building and you see championships here and it's right
Yeah,
in your
they asked you
face?
exactly how you answered. It's
And I'm
like,
just like, yeah, I mean, shit, I've never seen this before. I mean, this
yeah,
is insane. I mean, the things that we dream about as NFL players is literally right here in your face,
yeah,
and you see that it's been done before. And I've been in Houston. Like I said, I got drafted out there, but we all know that they were close as hell last year. Now
hmm,
I can see them possibly being in that conversation as well. And hell, that's not to say Minnesota can't be in a. Everybody gets a fresh slate every single year, as we know that.
no
Even the
question.
defending championships, even the defending champions, they still got to go back to the table and make sure that they're not trying to replicate what they're doing. They have to establish a new identity because everything is new. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
you got to continue to, be innovative in this league and keep pushing. But yeah, at no points that I'm
it's
talking trash or trying to down there. I'm just going off of what was actually in my face.
it sounds like you've been talking to Howie, saying, "Hey, when you win championships, you got to retool. You can't just try to do the same shit." That's the stuff he used to say to me,
Oh, for real. See, yeah,
and
not,
and he's just a smart guy like that, and is evidenced by making an aggressive move by
yeah.
bringing in a guy like you. You know, the 2 years removed from a championship. I think it's going to be a lot of fun watching that D line play. From tee shots to game-winning goals and buzzer-beating baskets, make every moment unforgettable with BetMGM. BetMGM gives you access to second-chance promos, odds boost tokens, same-game parlays, and so much more. Check back every day for new promos and offers to take advantage of. And if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code GREENLIGHT, and you'll get up to a $1,500 new player offer on your first wager. BetMGM, make it legendary. I know Fangio's got a scheme that's a little more complicated than say like a just put your hand in the dirt and
Yeah.
go kind of thing. But you played in B Flow's scheme. What'd you learn in B Flow's scheme as a player? What were you able to develop maybe out of necessity, and what were the more challenging aspects of it? And are you excited about seeing yourself in Fangio's scheme?
Flo is one of the most, I would say, like, creative coordinators I've been around. Probably the most aggressive one as well, which like I said, I love that aggressive style. And I love Flo. Flo, man, him, we have talks. That's my guy forever.
He's the man.
His system definitely prepared you to always be on your toes because there's always so many checks. You got to be really dialed in on the game plan, understand personnel, understand who's coming in for what reason, what are we trying to take away. He's kind of, I think how I can equate him is like in basketball, you try to take away the team's best player.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to beat us, you got to beat us some other way. And with, Flo, that's one of his strengths. And at times I felt like we could actually do a lot of these things, whether it's, blitzing the hell out of them, playing straight up, throwing the type of crazy scheme in there. So you always had to be on your toes. And I think that's the part where in Vic's, scheme, I've already seen it from afar and I've kind of started already diving into the playbook a little bit. It's kind of similar in aspects. And they both have their ways of obviously just letting it just go, rushing for at times. But I'm excited to see what else he has up his sleeve. I mean, I've already been a part of, like I said, with Flo's system. I mean, I'll call him when I first got there, like 1 o'clock in the morning, like, hey, yo, what do you think about here on this play? Or what do you mean by when you're putting this play in or wanting us to do X, Y, Z? So I'm all for it. It's ball at the end of the day. I think that they both know when to just let it loose, just let us play ball. And then obviously when that time, that time comes, he gonna dial it up. So I'm prepared for it. I feel like Flo's definitely prepared me for that, and obviously just my years in the league so far has helped me. It's gonna be easy for me.
You're right about that, though. Playing in B Flow's scheme, you got to be listening right up to the snap.
100%. Like, I mean, we're checking. You're hearing it all. I mean, you can be locked in and put your hand in that dirt, but you might miss how you're supposed to be dropping on this play. But yeah, like it's gonna be cool, man.
But I love Flo, man. Like, and there's definitely people have said different things about him, but in my experience with him, he's just real, and that's in the NFL. It's funny, people think everybody's so direct. A lot of coaches will walk around a direct confrontation or walk around giving you a message. They'll walk 100 miles around it. And B-Flow is just going to let you know how he feels. And I don't know if you had like a younger teammate from Louisville or something that was looking, that had just joined the Vikings. Mm-hmm. And you were going to give this dude advice on like how not to piss B-Flow off. Like, what's the key to playing for B-Flow? What would you say it would be?
Yeah, he come from that Belichick tree. I was with Bill O'Brien in Houston. I got
Yeah,
drafted out there.
okay,
So
yeah.
one thing I'll tell you, they don't like rookies. Like they don't like. I'm just getting it out there now. They don't like rookies. However, if he know you can play and you showing that in and out, as far as you just care about dominating your one on one, he can work with that.
Yeah.
Now he can get with obviously getting the plays. He hearing a lot of stuff. You got to go left. You got to go right. But one thing he know, if you're gonna go out there and dominate one on one, he can find a place for you. So I think that's the main part going into it. And a lot of, like you say, a lot of guys hear a lot of things about him. But Flo is, like you say, as direct as they come. I mean, we done literally had Flo. No, we know we done had some talks. We done definitely went at it in the right, what I'm saying, in the right tone, understanding that we
Yeah.
both want the same thing. And that's the part about Flo. And with being in the league as well, you can have conversations with some of these coaches and they take it kind of personal or different, and it kind of can affect in a different way. Flo's the guy, like, we can go hash it out, say whatever it is, XYZ, and it's literally a switch as if, oh, what's good? Like, we're
Yeah.
back to football. And I think that's the part I appreciate it most, because he doesn't try to suppress you. He lets you be yourself while still trying to achieve the same goal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we all grown here, bro. And nobody can be the perfect person to have the perfect emotions every single time when it comes to a conversation. Especially, it's about your craft. It's about the game that you put everything into. So definitely credits to him for that. And I think if any younger guy could see that from afar and just understand that, listen, we're both trying to get to the same thing, but with him, there's no margin for error. It's no, oh, oops, my bad. He's tired of that shit. Like,
Yeah.
and that's just how he's preparing you for the league. So I'm glad that if any young guy is going to be there, you're going to learn very quickly the sense of urgency you got to have in this league to be able to be the best. And he's been it. He's won it.
Yeah.
He's done it all. So it ain't going to bullshit you at all. So yeah, much respect to Flo, for sure.
That's exactly it. Sense of urgency, and don't make the damn same mistake twice.
For sure.
Which
For
is
sure.
easier said than done sometimes. For Philly fans, man, who might not have seen you play, and I think there is this phenomenon where some people, you are still underrated, and you're a year removed from 25 sacks over 2 years, which is really fucking impressive. Two different teams, but Houston, not the biggest. It's a big market, but it's not a market where people are going to see everybody play on the Texans. Sure. And Minnesota, same thing a little bit. Like, can you? For a Philly fan who hasn't seen you play, can you describe your style of play, your style of, especially as a rusher?
Yeah. Everybody knows the pretty guy don't always get the most notoriety. I mean, the way my style of play is dirty. I'm playing hard as ever. Sometimes it's not going to look crazy. I mean, it's not going to look great. It's going to look unorthodox, but at the same time, the job is going to get done. I'm going at 100 miles an hour. I'm about to be gassed after every single game. I mean, hell, even after every practice. I mean, I just go all 100% every time. And I think that's the main thing about it is I never try to be the pretty sack guy, the pretty TFL guy, or all this and that. Listen, I'm just going in to try to dominate and take over a game. And I think that's every time I've been in the game, I try to do that. And obviously having, this type of team now, man, it just lets me come in and just add to what I've been doing. I don't have to come in and be a new person or try to switch anything up. I think that's just, you're going to see I fit right in and you just get that burst of energy. I think that I have a really good repertoire pass rush moves. Love stopping the run. Stopping the run is a want-to thing. I hate that we even speak on it. But as you mentioned, I had the sacks. But, I mean, I think I still had another double-digit TFL season again, which would be 3. And I keep track of that shit. Like, TFLs, obviously the sacks is the stuff's gonna get you paid, but how many times is I'm affecting this run game so that way they got at least on first, second down, they gotta think twice about running their favorite run play. And they might want to switch it up and run a play action. Now you playing on our terms. So as soon as I can get y'all off the game in that aspect, I feel like my job is already done and now we can really just pin our ears back and go. So I'm just gonna bring that same mentality in, man. And if they don't know, they're gonna see real soon.
Well, the thing I always liked about watching you rush, and I think we talked about this before, is as a guy who had to be a power first rusher, especially later in my career, and maybe you can speak to this, like how your body changes as you get older. Like you're not old yet, but like you gotta switch it up, you gotta adapt and that sort of thing. But I just love the way when you rush, it feels like, I'm sure you pre-planned some things, but not much is pre-planned. Like you're an option rusher where you can take whatever the tackle gives you, and I assume it comes off of power.
Yeah.
Because you got a great bull rush.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the main part. I mean, everybody know that's like, as D-line, that's like the first move you learn is the bull rush. And I think when you see myself, you see I'm like more of a slender guy, lankier arms and this and that, lankier frame.
Right, exactly.
So they like, oh man, he's about to come out here with the craziest moves, which I have them, but
Yeah.
but the main thing is I'm gonna still keep the main thing, and it's just power. Obviously, we can build a lot of things off of power once you get a guy to understand it. Listen, it's not gonna just be no finesse party. And I
Yeah.
think that's one thing that I try to pride myself on is whenever I am making aborts or any move I'm doing, I'm just intentional with it to make sure that listen, it's gonna be whether we're winning the rush now or we're setting some up for the next one. But the mindset and intentionality still stays the same. So yeah, I don't see myself switching stuff up. I think that's the main thing is just the fundamentals and the basics of playing D-line is
Yeah.
obviously establish stuff with power and then see what else you can get to after that. But it's time and place for everything. So whenever I do my scouting reports on certain guys, it's not to switch my moves up based on them. It's just basically change my approach a little bit while still executing the same stuff. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be that.
Do you ever have a hard time like with like sometimes coaches will show you film like the winds cut up, right? And everybody's so different that like, we used to watch like Julius Peppers and he'd be like, see? And I'd be like, I can't fucking do that. Or like you got to find certain guys that you think of as you,
Yeah.
like that are similar style guys. Do you ever find yourself kind of searching for those guys like, to kind of build your rush plan off of? Or do you just go into the game plan and take every rush you see on that wind cut up into account?
Yeah, a little bit of both. But before, like when I first, like my third, fourth year in the league, I used to watch kind of guys. I mean, we were in that 4-3 system, obviously in Houston, where it
Yeah.
was just go, go, go. And then obviously a couple years before that, I was with Lovie Smith in that kind of 4-3, where it was not as aggressive as going, but we still had to watch the same film. So I was watching the Julius Peppers. I'm watching these guys like,
Yeah.
all right, listen, I can't do that. These guys
Right.
are literally freaks, a freak of nature just off of their bill. So I have to switch my approach up. But yeah, no, I look at guys, Ryan Kerrigan. He
Yeah.
was a guy who, and a lot of times too, it's kind of weird too. I think about a lot of pass rush moves, and hell, I even work on my wife sometimes. We just see her just talking, bro. I'm telling you, she'll literally be sitting. I'm like, hold on, shoot your hand real quick. Now I'll just be like,
I need
doing
low
those,
hands. I
yeah,
need high
like
hands.
literally, she can see, she'll
Vertical
say,
set, please.
listen, and give me wide hands, give me a clamper or some shit like that. So, but yeah, like I literally sometimes I watch these guys to make sure I'm not tripping, make sure that like I'm thinking the same things, or these things
Right.
happen randomly. You may have to plant off of a different foot to go inside, or it's not gonna be as perfect as it is when you're going off of bags and
That's
stuff
right.
like that. So I watch all types of rushes just kind of show that listen, this is an unorthodox position. Sometimes it's gonna be pretty, sometimes it's not. A lot of guys aren't gonna be your 4'4", 4'5", 6'5", 260. These guys, some guys are gonna be 6'3", 240 or 250, and they're gonna have a shorter arm. So I don't never discredit or look down on anybody based off of how they got the sack. As we know, you look at those certain sack tapes. Some guys are running high, and it's just, hey, listen, it's a good day in the office.
Yeah, but I hate how coaches never. By the way, you got 34 and 7/8 inch arms.
Shit, yeah. I mean, I
You're
ain't heard that
fucking
number.
kidding me, dude.
I ain't heard that number in a long time.
Dude, I because I'm in combine mode, draft
Yeah.
mode, where everybody's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this guy's arm short." You got long ass arms, dude.
Yeah, I got blessed.
That
with
makes sense. That's why you can get the power going. That's
I can
why
get
you
I
can
can
get
get
the
some
power
before.
going.
I can get some. I can get
That's
some
pretty good.
a little beforehand. But yeah, I mean, I was with obviously in Houston my last year, so it was with that 4-3 system with D'Amico Burke.
Yeah.
Now being with me, talking with Wash, now we kind of talk about the same things. But that was my main thing, is just playing with length and getting off the ball and just kind of getting to these guys before they can get to me. So that's kind
No
of like the
question.
same mindset I've taken since then.
Wash is a great coach, man. Just
Oh
being
man,
around him at practice, not getting a chance to play for him, but great coach, great dude. You
yeah,
talk about coming into a situation where you're 28 years old, and I remember when I was young in the league, 28 was still young.
yeah,
There were a bunch of vets. There were, when I walked in my first locker room, we had 3, 4 guys over 30 years old, and that's changed a lot. Where there's not as many vets involved, you're going to be a big vet, man. Like,
yeah, yeah,
I've kind of heard you talk about it, but what goes into being that veteran presence, and especially on a new team where you kind of,
yeah.
people probably already know what you're about, but I always had the mindset of, well, shit, I got to prove myself too.
100%.
As silly as that sounds, with a decade under your belt or whatever,
Yeah.
there's still that process too. So what is that process like for you, getting in the building and kind of, feeling where you can throw your weight around a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to say that because, I mean, I'm 28 and they start calling me Unc. So
Right, dude. That's early for the unk.
I'm like, damn. But I mean, like,
I'm unk,
I
bro.
could have. That's what I'm saying. I could have swore 30s
Fucking
was like,
41,
and
dude.
even 30s is crazy. It's like, bro. I mean, if you get in the real world, we know that's not old. But I
What is
get it.
the year that we call unk? What's the unk cutoff?
It has to be, bro. I think they. Well, if they're calling me Unc now, I would feel sorry if you walk in the locker room. Like
No,
they
they
gonna
just call me Triple OG or
they
something,
just
dude.
they might come up with some new stuff nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I kind of got a little taste of it when I first went to Minnesota after the new contract when I first got there. And I was going into year 5, and they're kind of looking at me and saying, you're kind of the vet-ish, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm going into year 5. I could have swore I was like the new young guy, if that makes sense, like the
Yeah.
new older young guy. But
Yep.
but I got a little taste of that and understanding like how much power you have with your words. Everything you're doing, everybody's kind of watching how you kind of carry yourself, because ultimately younger guys in that building want to get to that second contract like you have, or that third
Yeah.
contract ultimately. So they're going to watch everything, understanding that your stuff has power. And that was the part. Now just I'm doing the same thing as well. Just spilling all the knowledge that I have to these younger guys, or guys that come and ask me about my journey or anything about the league, man. I love that. I think that any way I can kind of just tell my journey, or ways that I've been able to get through this league and stay in the league, which is the hardest part, and still excel. I think that's the part where I like to kind of drop knowledge in that aspect. But at no point I ever walk around like, man, you need to come asking me, and my word is
Right.
bond. Like nah. Like listen, if you come ask me, cool. If you don't, cool. I mean, I understand that we deal with a lot of different types of players, but I'm always gonna be there. I'm an open book, man. I ain't got shit to hide. Definitely whether to talk about football, life, financials, you name it. I just like to be another person that can just help out another guy that is struggling at a time, or just kind of trying to figure it out.
That's a really, I mean, like that's so cool, man. I used to love like being a vet. It's like a privilege.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I worked really hard to get here, and now I get to enjoy the fact that I can help younger players, and a
100%.
rookie that does soak things up or ask questions. Like, I'm not going to be the vet that's like, "Fuck you,
Yeah.
you might
Yeah.
take my job one day." Well, hey, that's reality, but while you're here, we need your help, and so
100%.
I'm gonna help the rookies. And I remember the pride you feel when your rookie gets paid or something like that. Josh Sweat got paid; he was my rookie. You seeing Will Anderson get paid?
I was just with him, like like stuff like that. Even when I knew, like that's a great example. I mean, and we literally was my last year in Houston, and he gets drafted. Obviously, we know that we needed a DM. We knew we needed a guy to come in and to play, but the things we just dropping knowledge, talking about ball, talk about pass rush, grabbing hands, stuff like that. Just the things about all the intricacies about football and D line. To see him get paid now, when I tell you, I was just at his little celebration he had this past weekend, and we got the biggest hug. We just sitting there just talking like, man, like I told you this was going to happen. Like, mind you, he's so humble. He just was like, man,
So humble.
I didn't know. He was like, man, I didn't know. I said, Will, I'm telling you, like, it's so funny. He probably got mad at me. I told him, I said, listen, I think it was about like 2 months, like a month and a half ago. I sent a message, said, listen, like this message if you're about to make $50 million a year. Like the message. And he looked at me like I was crazy. And he just said, bro, I'm just playing ball. And it's just such a Will answer. And literally when I seen him, man, we gave the biggest hug, and I looked at him, he's like, bro, this shit is crazy. Like, really, I said, Will, I'm not gonna bullshit you, brother.
On the dot.
Like you don't understand the power. You're not only a good person, a great student of the game, but you're a
Yeah.
damn good football player, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's why I feel like I've done my job. I'm never gonna
Yeah.
gas him up or let him get too high or too low. Hell, we're not even when I was in Minnesota, I still call and check like, what's up? Like, and we still talk as if we just left the building together. But at the same time, just making sure, listen, bro, these things are gonna happen. You just keep going out there and balling, and that's what I mentioned to you earlier, is the money is gonna come. Those things happen when you just take care of the game and respect the game. It's going to respect you back, and I think that's the main thing where he just took pride in it and just took off and ran with it, man. So the next person up now is Dallas. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it now. Dallas Turner.
Oh, Dallas Turner. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
gonna get
yeah.
paid now.
So
Did you see him kind of make the gains through last year?
when he's on and he's dialed in on the game plan? I mean, the kid is a bottle of explosion. I mean, the guy is literally like I mentioned before, the 4-4 guy. And he's only just breaking the surface of how he's going to be in this league. But that's who I'm taking care of next. I'm watching real close. I'm still going to be talking to him the same way. Like, listen, XYZ has to happen, or this is not going to happen. Just the little
Yeah.
small things you got to have. When you're dealing with a young guy like that, because they don't know. I mean, as much as they are mature, when you talk to them, they talk a good game. They still don't know what they don't know yet, and I think that's the part where he's going to take this big step. You see him kind of do a little bit towards the last season,
Yeah.
and now at this point, shoot, I said it's time now. This is your time to show team. You need to go ahead and make that happen. So I'll be looking real close for him, and I know it's going to get done because the boy dog too.
Shit, if he gets paid like Will, he's getting paid, dude. Because these
Yeah,
guys, I mean, the numbers are just getting crazy, and I love
sure.
to see it, dude. I love to see it. Y'all know I've been on the Create gummies, and you know the positives. I've talked about this. They really help with recovery, strength, cognition, staying active as I get older. And now creatine has a new addition, the creatine electrolytes. You take them together. Gummies are the foundation. Habits, you build the product you trust, create. It's the thing I take every day. And so now you can stack the gummies with the electrolytes. Together, the two products put you about 8 to 10 grams of creatine a day, which is, again, like the magic number for cognition and that sort of thing. If you're only taking 3 to 5 grams, you're kind of leaving some of the benefits on or off the table, however you want to put it. But consistent higher daily dosage has helped me a lot. And the electrolytes to the equation. I think hydration's enormous. So like the way I feel late in the day is going to be dependent upon how hydrated I am, if I got my exercise in, if I've taken my creatine gummies, if I'm sleeping, all that stuff. But on a day where maybe I don't have all those things lined up, creatine and create specifically really does help me kind of get through that occasional tough day. And the research on creatine and sleep deprivation is one of the most interesting things that honestly I've read. Being prepared and being ready is just as important for you as it is for any of us who have been through the draft process. So make sure you treat your body right with Create gummies and electrolytes. I don't know if you know, but when we came to Minnesota to interview y'all a couple years ago, it was your first year in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I think you had just gotten there maybe.
Yep.
But the one thing I noticed was like, and I don't mean this as a slight about the Vikings, but like every team's built different. I'm so used to being around the Philly team, and I was like, man, the team's not that big. Like it's
I knew you were
not
going
a
that.
big team.
Yep.
I don't know if you have like, wait till you stand out there at the NovaCare Center and see these motherfuckers. Dude, the Eagles are a big ass team.
No, we played them last year. I was like, yeah, I can kind of see that. Like, this is these fuckers. Like, I feel like they find the biggest, fastest person they can find at every position. Like, it's like the standard. And if they can't find that, you better be a ball player. That's kind of like the next part to it. And I think I can see that instantly. When we played them, I just remember my first time playing those guys was, like I said, last year. You see Malata and you see Lane. Lane was already kind of new, obviously, in his own way, just because like he's a vet. He's already, we know that. Malata's huge, but the same point is you look at I know when the team is a massive like team, when the tight end is even like it's big. Like when I see Goddard is like you're 6'5", 6'6" already. And I'm like, I mean, if you look at across the board, they're all like it's a minimum of 6'5", 6'6". So
some big dudes, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely can understand that and see that. But shit, even when I went into that game, I was like, shit, they bigger they are, the harder they gotta fall.
Yeah,
So shit,
fall.
I was looking, honestly, I was looking at my chops that game. I was literally had that game circled. I'm like, listen, I need this Philly game. Wish you had the game plan to win that thing, but ultimately,
it was a good game.
Yeah, no, it was crazy.
It's a real good game. Trying to bull rush those two guys is tough.
Yeah, you better figure out something else after a while, because
I remember, I mean, like having to rush Lane every day. He's got the most, like you wouldn't expect it because he's kind of like he's huge, but he's not like a fat guy.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
but he's got that underhand punch with the absorption and the really good late anchor.
I mean, if you see him doing on his Instagram doing pull-ups from way out
dead
here,
hangs.
Come on now, I think people really don't understand how hard that is.
It's a freak show.
If we barely can do that as our 250 and 270 range guys like that. Anyways,
I'm past Unk. I can't do any of them, dude. I'm north of Unk, bro.
When I seen that, I said, see, this is why they're great at what they're doing. So, but I look at that shit as a challenge. I'm excited about that shit.
The dude I can't wait to see. We were just talking about rookies. You know, kind of get lost in the shuffle with the first round pick of Lemon and then the trade with you. But the Uar Bernard kid, have you seen this guy?
Bro, I'm not surprised. Like, so my best friend's funny. I always joke with him. My best friend's Nigerian, and I remember sending him the video, and I'm like, "What's going on here? Like, well, how are y'all continuously putting out builds like this? Like, it's like a factory of builds that y'all have. Like,
Yeah.
my buddy's kind of built similar, and he was like kind of the same way he was or was when he first. Like, I seen a picture in 24 when he didn't look as big, but the frame was there.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, listen, when I seen a new picture, I said, bro, this guy, and for him to run a 4.6 at 300 pounds.
They put his measurables next to Miles Garrett, and it actually usually I'd be like, yeah, that's stupid, but they were the same. And obviously the guy's a blank slate, blank
For
canvas,
sure.
but how he's done this before with Jordan Mailata, and that's what made me think of
100%.
it was Jordan. I remember draft weekend sitting watching TV, finding out we're drafting this kid who's never played football before, and then having to 2 days later rush him. He wasn't very good his first day, but within 2-3 months was stout. He was incredible, and I feel like there's
Yeah.
less to learn
Yeah.
on the defensive line than offensive line. Like,
Right.
so this kid shows up. What's the first pass rush move you're going to try to sell teaching him?
I'm going to try to tell him bull.
There
Whoa.
we go. I love it, dude.
Definitely.
All right, so there's a trend going around,
Yeah.
and you probably noticed this studying tape and shit, but LA did it a lot where they're getting these 13 personnel sets,
Yeah.
and they're trying to throw out of it. And a lot more teams just use Chicago draft another tight end. It's like kind of, it's the trend right now. Like, what goes into when you get a bunch of tight ends on the field, like not slowing down, and what are the alignments that are the most uncomfortable? Because for me, I thought like some of those gray area tight end detached chip looks bothered me.
Yeah.
The big wings can be tough depending on how tight they are.
Yeah.
What do you as a rusher take into account when you get all those tight ends on the field?
Well, one of them is not going to be. It's basically a big receiver. Kind of we
Right.
can kind of. That's what kind of helps me in my mind is like who's the Y, who's going to be
Yeah.
and who's the U. Most times the U is going to be that blocker. They try to switch it up and put that Y. I mean, you're not going to have your number one guy running the route from there
That's
most
right.
times. But yeah, they all have their time and places. It's just more so of a situational thing, like what down and distance it is. How's the game been going so far? Maybe they've ran it already before and they kind of seen something, so they just want to go back to it. But me, once I kind of get the inkling of, hey, this is just kind of window dressing. One guy is going to give it away. I'm sorry, one guy,
Always.
whether it's a stance, his eyes before the snap, he's looking trying to see where's his work. What covers they're in, certain things like that. I'm always paying attention to the small stuff like that, and then obviously at the end of the day, we can always look at that tackle and be like, oh, we know exactly what type of player it's going to be. When he has that foot back, they can try to hide it as well, but then their eyes get to wandering to where their work is and stuff like that. So I pick up on that real quick, and I'm just like, okay. As far as the alignment aspect, I try to make sure I stay on my line as much as possible.
Right.
Whether even trying to weave through that a little bit, but just trying to stay on my line as much as possible, even if I get chipped, what that alignment looks like or what my angle looks like and stuff like that. So it really just depends. I'll be watching film and kind of see what type of guy is he. Is he a heavy chip guy? Is he a weak chip guy? Or is this guy usually the blocker in this sense? All of those things kind of go into it, but yeah, I have seen that a lot, and it kind of they're trying to marry that with the run game, and you see a lot of these times these 13 personnel just creating that extra gap, trying to do a lot of inserts. Sometimes that extra tight end is a fullback in the backfield, and
Yeah.
they're using these lead draws or divide action to try to, like I say, create that extra gap to when he's coming back on that divide action and make your safeties or linebackers have to make some plays, but. Yeah, you see it a lot. I mean, as you see, it's kind of a smart thing to do. At the end of the day, you can kind of protect yourself in a play action game with those two guys or three guys. And in the run game, you can also be just as effective by having a bigger body in there to try to create an extra gap.
Well, shit, you could run some games with those two big dudes inside in Philly, man. Like run
Listen,
some TEs and shit. Get you
man,
out of
listen.
chip because those dudes are going to be moving
You
bodies.
ain't got to
bro.
tell me twice.
Those dudes are going to be moving bodies. Well, okay,
100%.
been really great with your time. I got a couple more for you just
Sure.
on last year, but like you played in Ireland.
Yeah.
What was that like? I always
Yeah.
wanted to go to Ireland. I always wanted to play in Ireland. That's where my
Yeah.
people are from. Give me the
Yeah.
scouting report on playing in Ireland.
You would actually, and I loved it. I think I didn't. I had a buddy, like my best friend I was speaking of earlier. His cousin stayed there, so he knew all the places to take us. So we went
Right.
to nice restaurants. Obviously it's a drinking city. I mean that's a drinking city. The drinking area where we were at specifically in that city.
I think
But I
it's a
think that's
drinking city. I think it qualifies as a drinking city.
yeah. I was like shit. I mean, ultimately, but that's the thing about it. It's not like you're obnoxious stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe at least where we were at. But man, the people were nice. I mean, the people were cool. The food wasn't bad. I like to put it like this. I liked it better than going to London.
Yeah.
So, I was actually more surprised that I liked the Ireland trip a lot more. And hell, should I go back? I can do that one. Ireland wasn't bad. I definitely going back there going there for the first time. I think it was pretty smooth. It wasn't as bad as I
And you
expected.
played in London?
Yeah, we played in London. We were that team that had to play in Ireland that first week and go to London that next week. So,
Oh, who'd you play in London?
we played
I'll remember
Cleveland.
it.
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Yeah, that game
Yeah,
was a rock fight.
yeah. It was crazy. I just thought about that.
So the other one was Caleb Williams kind of came into his own
Oh yeah,
last year, and everybody watches the incredible throws and that sort of thing, but I watched the drop target. There is no pocket. Like, you coming into a game against Caleb Williams, what are you saying? Because that dude is tough to get down.
man. We played him the first game last year,
Yeah.
and bro, he broke me off so bad. I'm talking about. I'm talking about. It was like the first series. I mean, I beat the tight end on something like that. I'm like, oh man. Eyes a play action pass, you beat the
Yeah,
tight end fast, the quarterback is just turning around, kill shot, right?
those are the toughest ones.
Man, I felt the tight end on my hip, and I think he's about to step up. So
Yeah,
I'm about to spin off the tight end.
yeah.
Literally, as I'm about to mid spin, he takes the meanest step back.
I know this one.
Just sat me down. I'm talking about sat me down. I remember in that play, in that moment, I said, "Oh my god!" Like, and I literally could feel like this is about to be one of the toughest seasons going through it if this is what it started like.
Yeah,
Because this guy goes from, I think, what was it, the most sack quarterback the
yeah,
year before to literally the least sack quarterback. And it's not nothing to do with no disrespect. Well, it is disrespect. It ain't because of the O-line is protecting the guy.
right.
He literally is making some Houdini stuff happen. His elusiveness in that pocket, man. And then be like you said, mentioned, be able to make any throw on the field. We knew early on, obviously, with our first year in Houston, he was a rookie. Me in Minnesota, he was a rookie. And we're like, all right, let's go ahead and get all we can and tee off on this kid now before he figures the shit out, because this guy's a problem. He's gonna be a problem.
Dude, that's exactly right. Always say this, like when somebody like that enters the league, I'm like, all the rushers in that division are like, fuck, dude, 2 games a year,
Yeah,
I might get nothing.
yeah,
I'm
problem.
gonna try like hell.
Yeah,
But like, if you're in one of those divisions with, like, for us when Cap came along, it was like,
oh,
damn, this is gonna be tough. But or if you play in like Mike Vick's division back in the day, like I'm
yeah,
just not gonna get there much. But so we talked about Caleb. The other team, Detroit. Well, I've always respected Detroit. They got a
100%.
great program,
Same.
very physical. You guys always play good games against them.
Sure.
What do you think made them? And I don't mean this disrespectfully, but they were more beatable last year. Like offensively,
Yeah.
I felt like they lost a step. Now they'll work like hell to get it back. They already are
Yeah.
through the draft and that sort of thing. But what made them a little bit more human offensively last year?
Ben Johnson, respectfully.
Yeah.
He's that common denominator. I think that Ben has a very good way of, mixing that running pass game well, and making sure you're staying honest. That's the main
Yeah.
thing I respected about Detroit, is because, or at least at that time, I still respect them, but they were true to making you stay in your gaps, making sure that like you're not trying to take an easy way out just because you may thought you seen something, and they'll go back to it. We know in my first year when I was in Minnesota and we played those guys, all I heard about was Detroit. We got to beat Detroit. We got to beat
Yeah.
Detroit. But we also knew that this run game was insane. The way they're able to draw up schemes to insert certain guys or understand how you play certain leverages and certain calls and certain defenses. And I can see it literally how he literally would do intentional plays, knowing that this is your responsibility, or knowing that this is this guy's responsibility, and it just conflicts everybody's responsibilities. And I think that's the thing that he does the best, is making sure that he's going to put pressure on all responsibilities, period. And I think that's the part where when we played them this past year, they still had a little element to that. I'll give them that. It wasn't just straight up, oh, okay, they're in this, they're running this. But it was a lot more of that, to where if they're in this, they're running that. But
Yeah.
ultimately, I think that part that Ben kind of had on those guys, and they all bought into it. You can see whether it's carrying out a fake or doing certain things that, like, oh, is he supposed to do that? But then they trick you and they actually, yeah, he was supposed to do that. Like
Right.
the fake stumble,
That
the
was
fake stumble,
crazy.
like, those things like that. And you
was
would think
crazy.
that, he's only doing that because he's seen how you react to a fake boot the other time or something
Yeah.
like that. So just a little small things I've seen was a major difference in that year one and year two, obviously for me in Minnesota with playing in Detroit. But yeah, man, I think him having that run game, and as you see in Chicago, their run game is pretty damn good just because of
Yes.
how he continues to try to just window dress certain things, insert certain guys to take out certain guys. I mean that was I got much respect for him as a play caller, as a coach for sure. Because
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
gotta have good eyes playing
yeah,
Ben
for
Johnson.
sure.
All right, last thing. Number 58. Are you gonna be 58 in Philly?
We're figuring that out now.
Is it open? What's open?
I think that it's a couple
I'm about
numbers.
to pull it up.
I don't know if I see. I
gonna
literally was
give you
just
my
there, and they were
vote.
still saying, "Hey, we'll figure it out when I come back because they're gonna make it official." I want 5-2 again. I mean, I think that I've been back there. I was in that in Houston, so I think Jalik's already got 58. So I think he's good. I mean, I'm not the type of person to be like, "Hey, man,
55,
let me
56.
go ahead and get it up off you," or text him
You
stuff
don't
like
want to do
that.
57.
Yeah, no, I think I'm.
57's a little
I think 50. I think
little
me.
camp
I ain't got no
body-ish.
problem. I ain't got no problem going back to 52. I ain't got no
52 is
problem.
pretty cool. I mean, but you also got some 90s in there. You never liked the 90, huh? Because 50s is more of a I'm fast.
Yeah, I've been on the 50 since college. But the 90s, I said if I was like a little bit, if I was a bigger build, yeah, I could do the 90s. I feel like the 90 gonna make me look like I got a nightgown on. Or
Yeah,
something
some
like
of these
that.
90s are also just like big guy numbers.
Yeah, yeah,
92, 91,
yeah.
93,
91 ain't
99's
bad.
open. But yeah, 52. Okay, all right.
Yeah, 91 ain't bad either. I ain't see that one either.
91's pretty good.
Yeah,
91's I got some mileage on
somebody
that one.
kind of wore that fine, But
Well, all right. Well, I'll look. Now I know what might be on the license plate, man. I'm excited to watch. And yeah, dude, I'm super happy this happened and super happy you got to come on the pod. Thanks for your time, John.
hell yeah, man. Appreciate you. Anytime. Hit me up.